Want to increase your trade probabilities? Use CRT to set up. As you know, in my past two videos, we've been talking about ranges. We have talked about a dynamic range slash typical range. We have talked about a timed range, and eventually now we're leading up to a CRT range. They're all the same thing. They're actually not. They're different. A CRT range is just a one candle. A time range is a specific candle. A range dynamic is a random one that you find out in the market, right? Such and such, such like this. This is a dynamic range right over here, right? A dynamic. The low got purged, right when the low got created, high got created with the range right now here. Low got purged, the next one locates to the upside, right? Simple as that, right? So, and a specific time range is like this, right? This is sort of here is a specific time range, right? A timed range needs to have a timed purge. A CRT does not need to have a specific time candle, but it does need it to have a specific time purge. So this is a specific time, while this candle right over here was not a specific time, right? It was a 12 o'clock, right? This right over here, this candle over here is meant to get souped at 1 a.m. So 1 a.m. or 3 a.m., right? But this got souped at what? At the 9 a.m. candle. So that's why it matters for you to look into differentiate the three type of ranges, right? And know the difference of it, right? A CRT range, it's doesn't require to have a specific time, right? It could be at any time. It could be it's the same thing as a timed range, but it doesn't need to have a time, right? It doesn't need to be a specific time. But the purge does need to be a specific purge. The purge needs to be from 1 to 2 a.m. or 3 to 4 a.m. or 6 to 7 a.m. or 8 to 9 a.m. or 9 to 10:30 a.m. If it's not one of those times, disregard that as a CRT. Disregard that setup that you took from the CRT as a setup for you to take, because as you guys know, time comes before price. But what I do suggest with the CRT before we start off is please use it with a timed CRT. Please use it with a timed range. Please use it with a typical range. Make the higher probabilities, right? Matching up all of them together makes sure it's set up a higher probabilities. But let's get in straight into it, right? Every candle is a CRT because every candle has this open, high, low, close, open, low, high, close. Every candle has a power of 3, the lower time frame. Every candle has a range. The 1 minute has a range. The 1 second is a 1 minute range, right? Everything has a range. So everything is CRT. CRT basically means scatter range theory. We get straight into it, right? This right over here is a CRT, but it's not timed CRT, right? But the timed purge was a specific time, which was at what? 9 to 10:30 a.m. So the purge, the candle, was during a specific time. Please keep in mind, when you do use CRT, have a specific time of purge. That candle does not matter, okay? The candle does not matter. It does not need to be a specific time of the candle, but having a specific time of the candle still matters somewhat because it can give you a higher probability, right? But if you are doing if you go, it's because sometimes you might not have a timed CRT. Sometimes you might have a CRT alone, right, without a time there, right? So when you have that, in those cases, please wait for the right time of the purge of that liquidity, of that high or low of the CRT. This got purged at the right time, which is at 9 to 10:30 a.m., right? That's your CRT. And as well, you could have used this right over here. This is a timed range, a timed CRT. This is a timed total soup, right, at the right time. So you could have used this, but think about it, right? Would you rather take this candle or this candle, right? More RR, right? This right up here gives you more RR, and this is considered a inside bar, right? So use it. You have to use it correctly, okay? Don't pattern trade. This is very difficult. It's very easy, but don't pattern trade it, because if you get stuck in a pattern, because every candle is a range. Every candle is a range. This right over here is a range, right? That right there is a range. This right here is a range, right? This right over here is a range. This right over here is a range, right? So if you're pattern trading all of them, you're gonna get wrecked, right? So if you think this is a range, you go to the upside. Well, oops. Now, if you're a pattern trader, you have taken this move to the downside right over here. Well, this never met your own liquidity. You got stopped out, right? Now you have taken this one. Well, you would have met your goal, right? But please don't trade this logically. Don't trade this patternly, because you see it happens a lot in the market. Just have a narrative to this. Have a logic to this. This specific goal right over here would have had a narrative to it, because there was the S&T here with a Pacific pair. Let me see. This one tapped the fair value gap, right? While this one didn't. You can see scan right over here. Is this fair value gap? It tapped this fair value gap right over here, right? So this one had a fair value gap. Well, this one didn't get tapped, so that would be S&T right over there, right? So please make sure you guys do that, okay? Don't pattern trade this. This one had no reason to go to the downside, because it's at 1 p.m., right? Nobody checks at 1 p.m. So if you would have pattern traded this, you would have gotten wrecked, right? Because if you would have pattern traded this, would have lost. But there was a narrative. I did have a setup here today to the downside, but as I said, time comes before price. Time ran out, right? This is right over here was at 10:30. Okay, we're set, but that did not give my entry, right? 12 ran out, right when 12 came. The time is out, so I shouldn't be trading. So this small move, I shouldn't be trading, because why? Time comes before price. Time is more important than the price. So always remember that. And this is CRT right over here. This is not a timed CRT, by the way, but this is a CRT. Would you rather take this CRT, or would you rather take this timed CRT and timed range, or this CRT right over here? Which one sounds better, right? Which one has more R, right? Obviously this one. But guess what? You still had the timed purge. When was your purge? Let's see what time was the purge. I said 1 to 2 a.m., right? 1 a.m. was a purge. Specific time purge, okay? Matters a lot. So right over there, that's that. Please don't pattern trade this, okay? This one had a reason to it, because it was a Friday reversal, Friday retracement, ERL to IRL. You know what I'm saying? You had you have built up all this narrative. Range low got purged, so you're going to the range high. So you can see how we're building up this narrative to the upside, right? So yeah, keep that in mind. And you can see this right over there, the CRT, right? Range high, range low. But it's not a timed one, right? A CRT could be a timed CRT. It could be a no CRT. Which the timed CRT are more like, or considered a higher probability. A time purge is you need that. Without that, you can't trade CRT, because you're gonna lose. You're gonna have a higher chance of losing. But the best way you could trade these types of ranges is by having all of them together. If you have all of them together in one trade like this, you have a range low, we have a CRT low, we have a time range low right over here. But you want to use this as your CRT. You have all of that set right over there. Now that would be considered as a high probability, right? The more the better. But you need to have a time purge to make a higher probability. You need to have a CRT or a timed CRT. Timed CRT and a CRT is different. This is what? At 9 a.m. It's not a timed CRT, by the way. At 5 p.m., 9 p.m., 1 a.m., 5 a.m. are timed, right? Anything else is not, because they have lower probability, right? But guess what? The purge was at the right time, right? So regardless, if you would have traded this candle right here, which is a timed CRT, the RR is really bad, right? So you'd have used this as your CRT. So let that, and you have to eventually find out how to use it correctly. The way you use it correctly, just wait for the right time of the purge, which would be at 1 to 2 a.m., 3 to 4 a.m., 6 to 7 a.m., 8 to 9 a.m., at 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., right? Those are the best time for a purge. Those are the best times where the market will take liquidity, right? So all you gotta do is just wait for the right time. basically wait for the big CRT to get purged. We don't really care about these ones because these are a sidebar, right? I don't care about this candle. The reason I don't care about these candles, okay, they're timed, right? But guess what? I have built up all these other narrative, right? I have a range low here. I have a CRT here, right? And I have a time purge, right? So this right over here does really wouldn't matter that much, right? We still had this as well. We still had this market in the market as well. We still have we purge out the high and the low, right? First we purge out the high, then purge out the low, making a CRT double purge, right? There's a CRT double purge that could happen. To me, I don't use it, right? Sometimes I use it, sometimes I not, right? Simple as this. This is how to increase your trade's probability, right? And by using CRT here, right? This right over here in the lower time frame, the hourly, that right there is a CRT, and this right over here is a timed. This right over here is a timed CRT, timed range CRT as well, and you have all these kilovolts, right over here, and yeah, simple as this. How do you mark out a CRT? Basically, a candle's high and the candle's low. That's your range, right? In a lower time frame, this hourly time frame might be like, oh well, if it was just easy, we trading this. If it was easy, market would have always won, right? But this is the most proficient way to trade ranges. Go to lower time frame. Go to 5 minute because if you're using hourly CRT, hourly key level, whatever hourly, right? You're gonna scale to the 5 minute time frame to execute, right? On the 5 minute, what is right over here? A range, right? Keep in mind, please. It's very important, right? So this is how to increase your probability of your trades working on your favor by using CRT. And I covered my other videos about the timed range, the range dynamics as typical range, which all of them increase your trade probabilities. If you guys have not checked that one out, go check that out as well. And this is how you increase your probability of your trades working out in your favor, right? And yeah, this is CRT. Make sure you guys are using CRT. Make sure you guys are using timed. Make sure you guys are using time ranges. Make sure you guys are using time CRT. Make sure you guys are using a typical CRT. A time range, time CRT, the same thing as a time range, right? The same thing. I'm just rewarding it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, thank you for watching. Join my Discord if you haven't. And yeah, see you guys later.